I want to talk about the sort of power of story, which is something that is a major theme of your new book. You make a strong case that we live in what you call the Age of Bewilderment. You know, we live in an age in which all of the old stories and the old myths, religion, nationalism, even liberalism and the notion of human rights have sort of collapsed. And there's no new story that's come along that's been compelling to replace them. So we need a new story. But you also sort of insist throughout the book that all stories are fictions. They're not true. There's not inherently true. Even the notion of individuality is a myth. So how can we go about building a new story if those are the preconditions? If it's all a construct, how do we have the wherewithal to construct something and get people to believe in it?
Well, stories are tools. Humans think in stories. We are a storytelling animal. We don't think in facts, we don't think in statistics, we don't think in equations, we think in stories. So if you want to organize people together, if you want to have an effective society, you need to tell people a story that they can grasp easily and identify with. The story doesn't need to be true. It needs to be effective. And throughout history, you have this big debate that all scholars in all civilizations had to confront, whether your aim is the truth or whether your aim is social cohesion and social harmony. And almost all the, at least the powerful and successful scholarly establishments reached the conclusion that social harmony is much more important than truth. Truth is like an acid. Anything you put in it dissolves, which on the individual level, if you are on a quest to find the truth, if you are on the quest to find the ultimate reality, then yes, you go that way. But you can't build a stable social order on that basis. And when you come to judge different stories, then I would say the most important criterion is what is the impact on suffering in the world. A good story is a story that reduces suffering in the world. And this is why, for example, liberalism and its belief in things like free will and like individualism and like human rights, even though these things, as far as our scientific understanding goes, they are just myth, like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. So there is also, human rights is just a story we tell ourselves. They are not a biological reality. They are not written in our DNA. It's not part of nature that Homo sapiens has a right to this or has a right to that. It's just a story we invented and tell ourselves, and there is nothing wrong with it. The real problems begin when people forget, when people lose the ability to tell the difference between the stories that we invent as tools and the reality.
So, but here's a story. You know, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Seems to me that's a really good story.
Yeah,
one that has brought more people out of poverty, and I mean, so, but you throw a lot of cold water on the notion that sort of that, let's just call it liberalism, can still hold up, can still be a compelling story.
A story needs to adapt and be compatible with present-day realities. And the realities change. The technological realities, the economic realities change. And the stories that was relevant 1,000 years ago may not be relevant today. The stories that was relevant 200 years ago may not be relevant today. And in many cases, it is because of technological changes.
But how do technological changes render the story that I just told you?
Okay, so let's take the central ideal of liberty and freedom and the idea that each individual is endowed with free will and I make my own decisions freely, and this is the highest authority in the world. In a world where nobody has a technology to hack human beings, to decipher human beings, and to predict their choices and manipulate their desires, this story was excellent. and it brought a lot of benefits to humankind. But once you have the technology to hack humans, to decipher and manipulate their desires, a blind faith in free will becomes more and more dangerous, because the easiest people to manipulate are the people who believe that all their decisions reflect some mysterious free will. So why should we care about, I don't know, the Cambridge Analytica scandal? So what if Russian hackers show people fake news stories? It doesn't matter. All human choices reflect their free will. We have this shield that protects us against all these kinds of manipulations, so we don't care about it. Nobody can really understand me. Nobody can really manipulate me. Maybe they can manipulate other people, but not me. And these are the easiest people to manipulate. And to develop a healthy skepticism about this idea that my desires reflect my free will, this, I think, it was always good to be a bit skeptical about your desires, but it's extremely important to be skeptical today, because we are gaining the technology, actually the two necessary technologies to hack human beings. In order to hack a human being, you need to have a very good understanding of human biology, and especially of the brain, and you need a lot of computing power to amass and analyze all the relevant data. We never had it before, so it wasn't a big problem. But now, or very soon, we will have it.
The point is, you question the world you live in.